Hi guys, Sage is here. So yeah, I guess I should go through the intro thing, right? Hope you're enjoying Fire Emblem Heroes. I'm just going to say this will probably be the last Fire Emblem Heroes video for a little bit because I want to get back to Let's Plays. And third, I know that this is something that a lot of people have been talking about, so I figured, hey, no more negativity about the game. Let's get into something that might help guys out, huh? Alright, so let's just hop right on in. So the first topic of business that I've been seeing around a lot is, for those who are new to the series, Fire Emblem in general, are just kind of hopping in, or for those who just don't know what units to get when it comes down to summoning or re-rolling, well, I guess I can help you out there because I've compiled a list of some of the most overpowered units in the game right now. Of course, this has a caveat. This is only for February 2017 right now. Because, well, I mean, this is the initial launch. This could change and probably will change over time because, well, let's face it, some of these units are way overpowered, all right? Okay, let's get into it. All right, so here's how it's gonna go. Okay, well, we're going to start by going through each color. The first one we're gonna touch upon is not technically part of the whole triangle, but it is a specialized unit in its own right. And that would be transparent, gray, clear, whatever you wanna call it. But gray is a weird one, and we're going to call it that from now on, gray, I guess. And basically, it revolves around three types of weapons. Archery, throwing weapons, and staves, whatever you call them, you know, the clerics and the troubadours' weapons. But mostly right now, gray only hosts one unit that is outrageously overpowered. And I'm sure you're already guessing who this is, but right now, no real healers and no throwing weapon experts are able to top Takumi, who is our first showcase here. But before we get to Takumi, I do need to specify one thing. Rarity affects abilities with characters. Typically, it means that they can unlock a new tier of their ability that they have, or something completely new. These will be noted by the stars. You'll be able to tell rank 4 with a silver star and rank 5 with a gold one. So that's pretty much all I have to explain there. Hope you guys understand. Alright, now back to Takumi. First off and foremost, he comes equipped with his Hujin Yumi, which is his default at rank 5, and honestly, it is one of the more powerful bows in the game for obvious reasons. It's his trademark from Fates, and it kind of shares that, in that it is outrageously overpowered. It has 15 strength, or 14 strength, I forget which, I believe it is 14, and that is a huge increase on the normal bows that are available. So naturally, he packs a punch when he does fire. But for the most part, when you look at Takumi, you kind of notice that he's, well, your typical archer. He can attack from a distance, there's always that advantage. He can counter any magical or bow wielder who may try to attack him. And, well, you know, typical bow user, right? He comes equipped with Vengeance, which is not that great of an ability, but it does help in a pinch when you need to deal more damage. But outside of that, you really don't notice why Takumi is so overpowered until you realize his innate ability. You see, Takumi, he can gain the ability Close Counter, which is outrageous and probably sounds just about what you expected to do. Pretty much, if any melee unit tries to attack him, he will then, of course, counter them, meaning that he has no disadvantage when it comes to countering. That means any melee unit will be hit by him, and that packs a huge punch, especially if you get a Takumi that has high defense stats, and that is crazy. To give you an idea, I once did an arena battle with a unit that had 2 Takumis, and I could not kill both of them. They actually slaughtered most of my team. That is just how outrageous Takumi is. Not only does he have Vengeance, and it also means his weapon skill counter will go down much faster, meaning Vengeance will be up much faster. It's just outrageous. Takumi, right now, is probably the only archer in the game that is such a powerhouse that he is downright broken in some regards. Seriously, he is one of the best units you can get in the game right now. So consider him for a pick if you want to reroll, or if you're looking for someone specific, try to focus him because he is fantastic. Well, that about does it for Gray, I guess. Bummer, but hey, that's just how it goes. So let's just get into other colors, because while Takumi is amazing and probably too overpowered to be in the game right now. We do have other characters in other colors that are just as good, so let's start off with red, shall we? So let's start off with the sword user then, since red is typically sword users. Again, this is just because of the triangle, but hey, I mean, what have you. Mostly, we're gonna look at Lyn, and Lyn, oh boy, she is a real sight to behold. Alright, so Lyn. Well, right off the bat, she's equipped with the Solcati, which is a very nice weapon for many reasons. Mostly, it does a lot of damage, but also it has a unique ability, and she comes equipped with this at rank 5, which is cool. I haven't really seen a lower ranked Lyn, but you know, I'm sure she exists out there. But this weapon is only for rank 5s, but its unique trait is something that's quite interesting. When she's below 50% health and initiates an attack, all of her follow-up attacks will proc immediately, meaning there will be no waiting, no risk check. Basically, all of her attacks will go first, which is great when she has low health. But the main thing about Lyn is her versatility, above all else, mostly because she has access to 2 really good abilities. The first one, of course, is Astra, which is a flat 150% increase to damage. I mean, that's pretty much all you have to go with there. It's a very useful ability. Again, since weapon skills trigger based on how many actions you take, remember, this counts for both actions you do and the enemy does to your unit. So potentially, she can burn through her 5 charges to get to Astra fairly quickly. The next thing we want to talk about is the ability that she can only get when she's Rarity 5, and that is Gale Force. And Gale Force, oh boy, if you know anything about Fire Emblem, you probably know what Gale Force is. In the original games, if you attacked and you killed an enemy unit with Gale Force, you would get another turn. This kind of works in the same fashion, but it's different due to how weapon skill charges work. Basically, after 5 actions done to her or by her, Lyn gets an extra turn, which means a lot. And if you're more into trying to dominate the battlefield than, say, trying to deal a ton of damage, Lyn is definitely a good choice because she can not only move quite a bit, but she can also deal a ton of damage. So definitely pick her up if you do get the chance. Since we're sticking in red for a bit, I guess we should probably talk about the young one. I mean, the young version of Tiki. Not the older one. The older one's just as good in some ways, but younger Tiki is a very valuable member of the team if you can get her. However, before we get into Tiki, I do have to say that she does have a disadvantage along with a few others that come along with this. It's mostly because she is a dragonkin. That means that some weapons have a Dragon Slayer-like effect on her. I believe Lucina has this, and as well as Marth, I believe, which means that she will take bonus damage from these weapons and from these characters, so you will need to plan accordingly. But outside of that, Tiki is a very powerful unit. If you can get her with high defense stats, that's really great, because she could be a bit of a tank in her own right. But she also packs a bit of a punch. Well, that's mostly because she transforms into a giant dragon on the battlefield. And, well, you know, that's a lot of fire and burning and hurting. She does a lot of damage when she's given the chance to. But where Tiki shines, it's mostly in her passives and her weapon skill abilities. And these are doozies. So let's talk about weapon skills first. Mostly Growing Flame and Rising Flame. I believe Rising Flame is the first version of it, but Growing Flame is the upgrade version you can get with SP. They're basically the same thing. I believe Growing Flame has less of a charge when it comes to actions, but basically though, this ability allows her the next time she attacks to select a 5 horizontal tile, and this will allow her to basically attack multiple targets. Not only that, it will do the damage based on what she's about to do to the unit she's about to attack, which means it's a massive AoE attack that can deal massive damage, and you definitely don't want to be anywhere near that. Tiki's 2 passive, however, are pretty good as well. One is called Armored Blow, and the other is Breath of Life. Breath of Life, when she attacks, any allies that are near her will gain 3 to 7 health based on what rank it's at. Meanwhile, Armored Blow gives defense to units every turn from 2 to 6 based on rank, which is also very useful. In general, Tiki's all about being sustained damage while also being able to do some AoE damage. So, if you do happen to roll her, I highly suggest you keep her. She's very handy in a pinch. Alright, so with Blue, unfortunately, we do have a few issues. Mostly, right now, this video is going to focus on characters that you can get out of, well, focus. Meaning that you get them because they're the focus characters of the summons, so you have a better chance of getting them. Unfortunately for Blue, we only really have Male Robin, and while Male Robin is great, he's not exactly the best that there could be. However, for those who really want to know about a character you can get, that would probably be Cordelia. She's basically Lyn, but she has the disadvantage of being a Pegasus Knight, meaning that she takes more damage from archers. The only problem, though, is that, of course, because she's not a focused target, the chances of getting Cordelia mean that, well, you're probably not going to get her. She's going to take quite some time. She's going to be rarer. Just saying. However, as we turn our head to green, which is what we're going to be talking about next, there is one unit within here who is not a focused target, at least from what I can understand, and that would be Hector. But Hector gets a special mention because of how overpowered he is, and, well, he might seem somewhat familiar to another character we have on the list. So Hector is, of course, a giant axe wielder. He is huge. Not only in stature, but also in axe, probably. Just saying. But before we get anywhere else with him, we do need to say that Hector requires, well, rank 5. Not only that, but he has some really good abilities that are just good at negating damage or dealing damage. The first one is Armins, which I believe is default at rank 5, where he's committed to basically guarantee a follow-up attack, but only when his HP is lower than 80%. His weapon skills, Buckler and Pavis, are pretty useful, mostly because they reduce damage, one by 30% and one by 50%, but mostly what we want to pay attention here is, well, distant counter, and I'm sure you can probably guess what that means. Mostly, it's like Takumi's ability, but instead of being a bow, he runs at you. He jumps over walls to hit you. Or maybe he throws his axe, I don't know. But basically, he can counter any ranged attacker who might try to hit him. And that alone seals Hector's fate as one of the more broken characters in this game, just because he can do that. It's outrageous, it's crazy, and above all else, he's very useful if you do get the luck to get him. But again, this does require a bit of luck. But let's talk about a different focus character right now, shall we? And this one is also wielding an axe and is quite well endowed, if I do say so myself. So Camilla, she does have a disadvantage, and that again is because she's a flying unit, meaning that arrows tend to do more damage to her. So make note of that when you get her. But that doesn't mean that she's by any means weak. Oh no, she comes equipped with a Brave Axe Plus at Rarity 5, meaning that she does attack twice when commencing battle. Funny thing about Brave weapons though is that when they're used like this, that means that this also counts for her actions, meaning that she gets 2 action points when she does this, which then plugs into her weapon skill, which is basically Dragon Gaze and Dragon Aura, and this gives her 30% to attack. And that means that she's basically going to be doing this every other turn if she's in any sort of scuffle. And that right there is outrageous. And one more thing to mention is that one of her passives, Savage Blow, when she commits to an attack, any unit surrounding that unit that has been attacked will also take damage. I believe it's 3 to 7, and that means that she's meant to just go in there and wreck. And she does do that. So if you ever roll Camilla, you definitely want to keep her around as well. Not only does she do a lot of damage, but she's also very, very strong. And that about does it for really overpowered units when you summon them. I'm not saying that Marth or Roy or any of those characters are bad by any means. If you get them, by all means keep them. I'm just saying that these units that I mentioned here, if you do get them, are extremely powerful and definitely worth keeping. And I know I've probably said, and I'm just kind of laughing to myself, I probably said very a lot and some other words, but I hope you guys understand that this is mostly just trying to talk about the best characters that you can get right now. And I realize that this may not be the best guide, but I hope it helped out when it came to picking up characters if you're re-rolling or you're new to the series and don't really care, or if you're just trying to focus on certain characters and certain summons. All in all though, really any character you want to keep is worthwhile, and it definitely shows that characters that get certain ranks do improve quite a bit. So eventually we'll be able to upgrade these characters that we all love and aren't rank 5 and get them even further. But for now, well, these are the best that you can get right out of the box, and that's pretty much all I had to say about it. And hey, if you guys really enjoyed this, leave a like, maybe share it a bit, I don't know. I'm not used to doing this kind of service, but I really do have fun making these and editing these, and it's been a real trip, even though I've complained a bit when it came to the original, videos. I'm probably stuttering a bit here, but all in all, yep, this is about it, all I have to say. I mean, we may do more about units that aren't exactly amazing, but are just as good if you get the chance to get them. If you want to see that video, tell me, I would love to do it. But for now, I'm gonna hop off, and I hope you all have a great day, and I hope to see you all soon.